Although the CCP technically hasn't started a hot war with Taiwan, they have come very close on several occasions in the past. Additionally, the CCP is currently killing their own citizens and completely disregarding their human rights with their zero-COVID policy failure, amongst other things. Both Taiwan and Ukraine act as a buffer of sorts between their aggressive neighbors and the rest of the other countries in their respective regions. As Russia wages its war with Ukraine and simultaneously kills innocent civilians en masse, Taiwan has problems of its own with China. As somebody who has lived in Taiwan for over 15 years, I have personally noticed the overall threat from China increase a lot over the years. There are times when it's less tense, and there are times when it's more tense, as we recently witnessed when Nancy Pelosi came to Taiwan for a quick visit. Hey everybody, my name is Nathan, and in this video I'm going to be highlighting some of the key similarities between Ukraine and Taiwan. Firstly, let's take a look at some of the geographical similarities between Taiwan and Ukraine. Although there are some obvious differences, such as Taiwan being an island and Ukraine being partially landlocked, the main geographic similarity is that both Ukraine and Taiwan have to deal with larger neighbors. Neighbors that are often violent, aggressive, and hungry for power. Power which it seems they are willing to go to any lengths to obtain, including killing innocent civilians. I'm not just referring to Russia here, by the way. Although the CCP technically hasn't started a hot war with Taiwan, they have come very close on several occasions in the past. Additionally, the CCP is currently killing their own citizens and completely disregarding their human rights with their zero-COVID policy failure, amongst other things. Both Taiwan and Ukraine act as a buffer of sorts between their aggressive neighbors and the rest of the other countries in their respective regions. Taiwan, for example, acts as a natural buffer between the CCP and its ideologies and many other countries in the region, notably Japan, the Philippines, and Australia. If China were to invade Taiwan and Taiwan fell, it would immediately become a huge national security threat for the above-mentioned countries. This is why it is in the best interest of those countries to either support Taiwan or possibly even intervene in the event of a war. Historically speaking, Taiwan and Ukraine also share some similarities in their origins. Both Taiwan and Ukraine are independent, democratic, and sovereign countries that previously underwent democratic transitions. China began firing missiles around Taiwan in 1995 due to Taiwan gradually moving away from their version or their interpretation of the One China policy. In 1996, Taiwan began its first democratic elections. This infuriated China so much that they again started firing missiles over and around Taiwan in an attempt to intimidate the Taiwanese and sway the course of the elections. As usual, all they really accomplished was to strengthen Taiwan's resolve and to motivate Taiwan and other nearby countries to become even more well-defended by increasing their military budgets, buying more weapons, training its military, and introducing new policies aimed at strengthening their national security. Furthermore, the CCP's aggressive behavior provided the US, Taiwan, and other countries with valuable insight into China's military ability, military strategies, and other important information which can be used against China in the event of a war. After Ukraine became independent in 1991, the peaceful transfer of power was brought about via democratic elections. Ukraine, much like Taiwan, understands the importance and the value of democracy and a democratic system. Historically speaking, democracy is the best political system for any country to adopt. Of course, it's not perfect. However, it works and it is much more effective than basically any other form of governance. It has been proven over and over again that forms of government such as communism, socialism, colonialism, and other forms of governance do not work. Russia completely ignores the international rule-based system with regards to war, and as such they target things like innocent civilians, hospitals, and as a result, they end up committing war crimes. They show no mercy and have complete disregard for the international rules-based system. It has been documented that Russia has allegedly committed war crimes in Ukraine, such as targeting innocent civilians, children, and hospitals. Besides Ukraine acting as a buffer between Russia and other parts of Europe, Prior to the war, Ukraine was a key exporter of grain and fed up to 400 million people in 2021 alone. After Russia attacked Ukraine and indiscriminately started killing its civilians, Ukraine was forced to focus its attention and resources elsewhere, meaning that it was unable to produce the same amount of grain as it previously had, and as such, its export routes were also disrupted. Essentially, this meant that any country that relied on grain exports from Ukraine had to go and find alternative sources of grain in order to feed their populations. Additionally, Taiwan plays a key role in the advancement and success of the international community, and arguably a much more important role than Ukraine currently does. Taiwan is home to massive companies such as TSMC and USMC, which play a vital role in the global tech industry. Without the companies to produce these key components, which can be found in a plethora of daily tech products from cars, to phones, to video game consoles, etc., the global tech industry might very well collapse. If Taiwan were to be attacked and was drawn into a war with China, the supply chains for these essential tech products would be disrupted heavily, and that would have a massive negative impact on pretty much the entire world. And I'm not exaggerating here, I sincerely mean that. If you think about your phone, your TV, perhaps even your camera, your Xbox, all those things, your computer, they all rely on these key components, and Taiwan produces over 60% of these key components worldwide. So if those supply chains were to be interrupted due to war with China, that would cause a massive sort of ripple effect throughout the tech industry worldwide. Taiwanese have a very deep and comprehensive understanding of the situation in Ukraine, perhaps even more so than most other countries. Taiwanese know what it feels like to be constantly threatened by its belligerent neighbor. A soldier from Taiwan who recently went all the way over to Ukraine in order to fight against the Russians has recently died in combat. As a gesture of good faith and to show their support for Taiwan, Ukraine held a farewell ceremony to honor the 25-year-old Tseng Shengguang, a young man from Taiwan who went to show his support for Ukraine by fighting alongside the Ukrainians. The ceremony was organized by the Ukrainian military and was attended by Lviv mayor and more than 100 Ukrainians, along with members of Tseng's family. Taiwanese have not only fought alongside the Ukrainians in Ukraine, but Taiwan has openly supported Ukraine from the start and will hopefully continue to show its support for Ukraine well into the foreseeable future. Okay everybody, that's it from me. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.